50 hours. That's roughly how much time I spent on this board in the last couple of months, in parawinging, wing foiling, downwinding, you name it. And as you probably know, when you ride the same gear for a few months, then you start noticing things that you didn't notice at the beginning. So in this video, I want to tell you if this, the AFS BlackBird 75, is still one of my favorite mid-length boards, or if, because I used it so much, I spot some things that made me like it a little less. Let's get into it. Alright, before I talk about the things that I found out that I don't necessarily love about the BlackBird 75 that I didn't spot at the beginning, let me just talk about the things that I still love and new things that I later found out that I love about this board. So the first thing is how stable it is on the water. I talked about that in the first review. If you haven't watched it, check it out somewhere up here on the screen. But I still love how stable it is. And this allows you to really get up in lighter winds, because yes, you can have a really performance oriented board with a nice shape that allows you to get up in light wind and that pumps beautifully. But if it's super small and super unstable for its volume, then it kind of misses the whole point, because if you can't really get up and you're not stable, you can't pump out of the water. But this board has a great stability for its size and its width. The second thing that amazes me every time about this board is how well it pumps out of the water for its volume. I never thought that a rider of my skill level, yes, I am good at pumping, but I'm not a crazy good wing foiler or parawinger by any mean. But despite that, it still amazed me how well it pumps out of the water. You really need a few knots. Like, I think I was able to start it with a 5-meter wing in like 6-7 knots. You really just need a tiny little push to make it glide just as much for you to start pumping without sinking the nose and the tail. And just, you need to be you need to be a bit like patient with, you need to pump it for a little bit, but then it gets out of the water. So that's pretty impressive for a board of this size. It's not sticky at all, and that's probably because of the work they've done here at the bottom. One thing that I didn't notice and I couldn't really understand at the beginning is how solid this board was. And if you know me, you know that I'm not gentle when I handle gear. And despite that, this board is still absolutely immaculate, I would say, even though, you know, I banged it here and there a couple times, left and right and center. Despite that, it's still perfect almost. So I would say that's like solid work, AFS. In the first review, I couldn't really test it for a long time with the parawing, but I had the chance to spend heaps of time here with the parawing and this board, and I get to that it's the perfect combination. You really feel the difference compared to other boards that don't have a pronounced rocker and a generous nose. This one is really easy to start, and this helps in lighter winds for sure, especially with the parawing, where you really need to point the board quite downwind and to lean forward to pump the foil out of the water. But let's talk about the things that I didn't spot at first when I tried this board and I didn't mention in the previous review. The first thing is that it's sort of like two sides of the same coin, because this generous nose is great when you need to start in light wind and when you need to parawing, especially if you're not a crazy experienced rider who can start with super tiny sinker boards. But at the same time, it's a little bit bulky, not really when you maneuver, because the board is still very light under your feet, probably because of the concave deck or because of the fact that the construction, despite being robust, is very light. But when you touch down, you really feel like there is quite a bit of section of the board hitting the water. But again, you cannot have everything, right? The second thing that is a little bit more annoying that I figured out later about the AFS BlackBird is the pad. I said in the previous review, if you remember, if you've watched it, that this pad is really comfortable, and I still believe it is, but there is one problem. It's not slippery at all times. It's not slippery when you are up on foil, but when you're pumping, especially if you're pumping really hard and you are, smacking the board against the water, some water are gonna get on the pad. And because of the concave deck and because of this pad right here, your feet are gonna slip. Like when I'm pumping this board out of the water, very often I found the pad quite a bit slippery. You don't feel this in stronger winds, and if you use a strap, you absolutely don't care about what I just said. The other thing that makes me like this board just a little bit less is this thing right here. Like, I do not understand why they did the whole of the leash so small. Like, not that you're gonna change the little rope here a lot of the times, but it's quite a challenge to put it on in the first time. So yeah, that's something that, again, I don't necessarily understand. Other than that, I'm still super happy with the Blackbird. The fact that the valve is automatic is great for retards like me. So nothing to say about that. And I have to rectify something that I said in the first review, which was that the edges here are a little bit painful on your shins. But at the end of the day, once you figure out how to place your knees on the board, even if you need to kneel a lot on the board, which you don't really after you get comfortable, but even if you need to kneel a lot, you're not gonna get hurt because you understand how to place your knees and your feet in a way that doesn't hurt your shins. Or maybe you just like get stronger on your shins and they don't hurt anymore. So yeah, I hope that you found this video valuable. I think that that's something that we're gonna do in the future even more, because again, when we test the products, unfortunately, we don't have the time to test them for weeks and months. So there are things that you spot later on. So whenever we can, whenever we use the same product for a long time, we're gonna do these sort of long-term reviews, because I think that these are even more valuable than the ones that get out straight away after the products get released. Alright, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more reviews, comparisons and tutorials, and stay tuned because in the next few weeks we're gonna do a lot of reviews and comparisons on a lot of new interesting products. So you need to follow the channel to not miss reviews, because now it's the heat wave. Like, it's the time of the year where the most amount of products are getting out, so you need to follow along. All right, I'll see you in the next one.